Now, before I introduce our keynotes to kick off the Nature Summit, I just want to note, one of the amazing things that I love about EarthX is like looking out in the audience, I see some of the amazing speakers that have participated on stage here, from ambassadors to ministers to, leaders in blockchain and quantum technology. But what's also so incredible is you'll look out in the audience and you'll see some amazing people who haven't been on stage. They just happen to be at EarthX and they're in the audience. And one person I just want to acknowledge is Dror. So, Dror, for those of you who I had the opportunity to see him tomorrow morning giving the keynote on Earth Day, Dror is one of the, if not the most world-renowned architects, urban planners, designers, intimately involved in reshaping the future of how Panama looks as a model of what he's done around the world. So, again, just a reminder that as you're here, worth noting, introduce yourself to someone who's sitting at your table. They might be changing the world. So with that, I would like to formally kick off the Nature Summit. None other than the man who helped launch the Nature Summit has joined us here today. One of my favorite things to do, frankly, is introducing His Excellency, Minister Juan Navarro, Minister of Environment for the Republic of Panama. I've had the privilege of doing this probably half a dozen times in the last year, so I'm not going to say what I typically say. I'm not going to say that he co-founded 40 years ago the largest land conservation foundation in Panama, ANCON. I'm not going to get into the fact that he created Solar, which became one of the largest solar energy companies in Panama. I'm certainly not going to talk about the fact that he was mayor of Panama City for a decade. No need to mention that he now serves as president of the Council of Ministers of Environment for all of Latin America and the Caribbean, 33 countries. I won't get into any of that. What I did want to talk about is the fact that he is an unconventional leader. And you're going to feel that when he gets up on the stage. And I thought about describing who he is as someone who has political courage, but it's not courage. I don't think he's actually courageous at all. And the reason why is to have courage, you have to have fear. And Minister Navarro is fearless. He is fearless in speaking truth to power. He's fearless and doing what he knows is right regardless of the consequences. And that fearlessness is at the heart of what the Nature Summit represents, and we are so honored to have his fearlessness here today. Please join me in welcoming Minister Navarro.
Thank you all. I hope that you're all having a wonderful afternoon, and I am happy and grateful to be here, and I will go right into it. Buenas tardes a todos. Estamos en Texas, podemos hablar español. It is really an honor, a profound honor, to stand before you today to open the Nature Summit. It is no small thing that we do so here, because in Texas, precisely, we have a land of wide horizons, bold ambition, and deep pioneering spirit. And pioneers, indeed, are exactly what this moment demands. I bring with me today the greetings of Panamanian President José Raúl Mulino, and of a country that punches far above our weight when it comes to protecting life on Earth. Panama is a small country with an outsized responsibility, because we are a bridge between two continents, a guardian of two oceans, home to amazing biodiversity, even though we only have less than 0.2% of the world's land. We are carbon negative, and we are the stewards of the Panama Canal, which is always open, even when the Straits of Hormuz are closed. Our geography is a gift, but it is also a mandate and a responsibility. And Panama has chosen to honor that mandate, not with slogans, but with effective action. Last year, we created and hosted 3 nature summits in Panama with Matt and with the wonderful people that put together this conference today. These convenings brought together investors, indigenous leaders, philanthropists, scientists, and policymakers into the same room at once. None other that at a venue, the Bio Museo, the only Frank Gehry building in Latin America, right alongside the canal in Panama. And what we learned is simple but powerful. When the right people sit at the same table, conversations become coalitions, ideas become capital, and capital becomes regeneration. And this is exactly what we need. And therefore, this summit in Dallas is in many ways the continuation of that journey. The same spirit, the same urgency, but now with a wider circle and a larger scale. Panama's ambition is not only to protect our own nature, which is our responsibility and our mandate, but it is also to become a conservation and sustainability hub for the Americas, where Latin America meets global capital, where policy meets innovation, and especially where the Global South proposes terms for the next economy. Let me be direct with you about why these matter. The world is at war. It is changing. The world's petroleum addiction is worse than ever. The planet agonizes. Science is no longer debatable. We have crossed 1.5 degrees, yet we are burning oil facilities and fighting over petroleum as if nothing were happening. And most of you and most of the humans on Earth are simply waiting for the war to be over so they can go back to consuming petroleum and emitting CO2. Yet at the same time, 9 million people die every year from pollution alone. Forests continue to burn, oceans continue to warm, as we just heard eloquently from Sylvia and from his lordship. Soils are turning to dust, and behind every statistic there is a human story of hopelessness and despair. For 50 years, environmental law has tried to manage this crisis. But let's be clear, it ain't happening. News is not good. More treaties, more targets, more conferences. Congratulations, by the way. You attended. You have achieved nothing. More BS, yet more extinction, more warming, more degradation, and yet more BS. While we get ready for the next COP, oh yes, let's go immediately. The next meeting and the next conference, very important. Make the reservations immediately so we can emit yet more carbon to emit yet more hot air, which gets us nowhere. The math does not lie. The old paradigms are not working, guys and gals. This is an equal opportunity disaster. Earth is burning. We're destroying everything around us. And the reason is simple. Under the current system, nature is still treated as a resource, an object to be managed, to be consumed, extracted, minimized. That premise produces predictably bad results. And this is why we're here. It's time for a new paradigm. We must change. And we want to propose a few ideas to achieve change. We are here to propose that nature is not an object of protection. Nature is a subject of rights. In Panama, this is no longer a theory. It is the law. In 2022, we passed Law 287, recognizing nature as a subject of rights. Our efforts and our courts granted legal standing to sea turtles in addition to nature. Our jurisprudence is being studied in law schools around the world. We have protected corals. Last year, we were awarded a World Future Council 2025 World Future Policy Award for our efforts, and we continue to advance walking the talk. We came to Dallas to share an invitation and to ask for your help. Under President Mulino's leadership and in partnership with the For Nature Foundation, Panama is taking our vision of nature and its rights to the United Nations. We will work together with a coalition of nations that we hope we are starting to form right here in order to advance a universal declaration of human rights that will now be paired with a universal declaration of the rights of nature. And we will take this effort to the United Nations General Assembly come September. Let me be clear. Thank you, guys. I see that all 25 of us are in agreement. And so, therefore, there is joy in my heart. I'm grateful that I ended my political career. Not exactly a huge crowd, but as Lenin would say, we start with the closed train, with no audience, yet we go far. Guys, gals, let me tell you what this declaration would do and what it would not. It would not override any existing treaty. It would not impose obligations from above. It would not require any country to adapt our model because we said so in Panama. What it would do is to provide the shared normative language that the world has been missing. The same way the Universal Declaration of Human Rights did in 1948. And this is why I made a reference to it. The same way the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples did for indigenous peoples in 2007. A declaration begins as soft law. And over time, with consistent state practice, it becomes the standard that courts, investors, and institutions apply everywhere. This is our vision. Hold it. Rights without resources are just words on paper. Rights without effective conservation action are hypocrisy. And that is why Panama not only will propose that the rights of nature be recognized, but we are also pairing this diplomatic agenda with conservation wins on the ground and financial architecture to match. To finance our architecture, we are launching the Fondo Panamá Natural. This is a trust fund that by the year 2035 should mobilize $300 million to guarantee permanent long-term conservation. This is all part. The idea is that environmental ministers in the future will not have to go and beg the financial ministry for this year's investment income, but rather we will have a stable operating budget, and every year we will have a trust fund that guarantees investment to secure and protect our natural patrimony. This is all part, the Panamá Natural Fund and our impulse for the rights of nature. Universal rights of nature is part of Panama's Nature Pledge. If you go to every COP, you must be exhausted. Small island states, like my friends from Tonga or the other island states here represented very ably by such capable ambassadors, and small countries like Panama don't have the manpower, the time, or the resources in many instances to keep chasing these endless, useless COPs around the world. Our proposition is simple. It's an integral problem. Let's negotiate everything together with small, effective negotiators and throw the universal no-win, everybody loses, consensus applies rule, and replace it with a General Assembly rule of majority voting. This would allow us to have effective COPs and would allow us to have effective advances on biodiversity, on climate change, and on desertification. Third, we invite every country to do its own job at home also first. What good is it that we have a nature pledge, that we go to the UN, that we go to EarthX to talk about our countries and how good we are, if you are not doing the job at home? Matter of fact, guys, gals, if each of you does your job at your own community, we wouldn't need to be here. There would be no need for all of these endless international conferences. And yes, some, like EarthX, are very useful for networking and learning. Indeed, but nothing replaces hard work locally at home. Brief summary of what we have done in 18 months. 32% of Panama's land is protected in parks. 54.4% of our territorial waters are protected as marine reserves. We have 4 reserves recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites. 6 wonderful coastal sites recognized, so important they are biologically, that they are recognized as Ramsar sites. We went from about 100 rangers to 540 rangers in 18 months, created a new Park Ranger Academy. For the first time ever, are communicating with our rangers thanks to 60 Starlinks in our field stations, turned the whole Ministry of the Environment around to focus on the land, created el nuevo refugio natural Isla Saboga. Cali, this should warm your heart, and Aidas. Also created the national park at the Ramsar site of Sansan Ponsac. Also created the new Sierra Llorona National Park, 70,000 hectares, uniting 2 other national parks, Chagres and Portobelo, one of the World Heritage Sites. Chagres, the one that provides the water for the canal. Oof. And we also redefined the limits of the Darien National Park. I'm out of breath because I've done all of this with my team in 18 months. Or rather, they did it in spite of me. All of you can do this. I'm asking you to do it. I'm begging you to do it in your own homes and your own countries. And this, united with a very clear vision for international policy and work, is what will help us protect nature in our own countries and throughout the world. To the investors in this room, we invite your capital and we invite your vision. To the philanthropists, we invite your voice and we invite your moral leadership. To the civil society leaders, to the NGOs, the indigenous voices, the youth advocates, we invite your partnerships, because this agenda belongs to each and every one of us. And to the ambassadors present, other ministers, prime ministers, and the governments represented here, we invite you to join the For Nature Coalition of countries, so that together, and Sylvia, you light up any room you walk into, and you light up my life. Could we please give her a real ovation? We just had lunch, and we have one more advocate, but an incredible one, for the universal rights of nature in Sylvia. Thank you, ma'am. And by the way, the person who put it all together and has been pushing this agenda is sitting in the back. Kylie, you just gave a speech, but boy, do you deserve an applause. Tremendous job. Now, my friends, this journey began at the Biomuseo, that Frank Gehry building I described a year ago. It continues here today in Dallas, and it will carry on. We'll take our fight to New York, to the CBD COP17, yeah, good luck with that, to Panama in 2027 at the IUCN World Parks Congress, which is only held once every decade, by the way. Write it down, first week of September. We'll take it to the UNGA in September. And I do hope we have good luck with that, because we ain't giving up until we get the universal rights of nature protected. And so, gents and gals, do not just take a seat at this table. Bring your commitment. Bring your urgency and bring your ambition. Please, no more cups, no more cocktail parties, no more empty congresses, no more useless meetings. Return home to serve your forests and save them, to serve your people and save your oceans, to serve your communities and save your reefs, to own your rivers and guarantee their water for posterity, to protect your own natural heritage, which is the heritage that defines your nations, and to protect your national parks. Do the job. Everybody can contribute. I'm asking you to contribute your part. Nature is not just to be preserved. She must be powered. Not just protected. She must be prioritized. And she must not be just loved. She must be funded. We fund what we love. It's not empty words. It's time for commitment. And now, at last, nature will not only be loved and funded, she will be recognized in law. Panama is ready to lead. We're ready to partner. We're ready to deliver. All we need now, all we need is you.
Rights of nature is my favorite topic. I've dedicated my life to it, and many others have as well. So it's such a pleasure to explore it more with you today. We got a wonderful introduction to what it means, but let me just reiterate that the rights of nature means that nature is no longer treated as a mere commodity or a thing or property or an industrial sink, which is exactly what the law says nature is, but instead is treated as a subject of rights, just as humans have rights and even corporations have rights. This is a movement that's expanding all over the world. 5 countries recognize rights of nature at some level of national government. Over 40 have subnational laws on the rights of nature. And everywhere it emerges, it takes on a cultural flavor that represents different geographies' love and connection to the natural world. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, the rights of the Wanganui River is based on the fact that the Wanganui iwi, the Maori, say, "I am the river and the river is me." They are inseparable from the watershed, and so they have recognized the watershed's own rights. In India, they believe the Ganga or Ganges River to be a sacred deity, and how can a deity just be property under the law? And so they have recognized this river's rights in a court decision. And even in London, England, they've brought art and music and poetry into a thriving movement for the rights of nature in the city of London. So it takes on a cultural love of nature wherever it happens. And all of this is bubbling up into a global movement for the rights of nature at the international stage. And there's been no country greater than Panama at advancing this in the last few years, and Callie has done such an incredible job of putting this on the global stage. It's time for all of this local and regional rights of nature to accumulate in something really exciting. So it's such a great honor to have you both here today and to dive in a little bit more. Callie, I'd like to ask you a first question. You're one of the authors of Panama's Law 287, and your background is science. So what convinced you to not just merely seek more science as the solution to the environmental crisis, but to actually get into law and policy?
I think as a young scientist, I felt pretty desperate. I felt like we're in the midst of this triple planetary crisis, the biodiversity crisis, the climate crisis, the pollution crisis. And so it was really clear to me that what we've been doing hasn't been adequate enough to properly protect nature. So we need to do something tangibly differently. And I was really searching for what I could do or what I could contribute that would be different on some level. And actually, at my first job as a marine biologist, I had an experience that changed the course of my life forever, where I had my rights violated, and I needed to seek legal counsel to learn what they were and to defend them. And at the end of the day, the fact that I had rights was the only thing that protected me and the only thing that I could defend. And trying to protect myself via ordinary measures didn't result in any protections. And that really caused a light bulb moment in my mind, where I realized, of course, we're seeing the situation that we're seeing for the planet around the world today. It's because the rights of nature are not recognized in a majority of our legal system. So how can we expect to give her legal standing in courts? How can we expect to adequately protect her when we have no way to adequately enforce her rights because they're not recognized? And that's what kind of led me on this journey to learn all that I could about the rights of nature movement. So this was about 2019. And I bought the book, The Rights of Nature, A Legal Revolution That Could Save the World. And I was reading it in my tent on sea turtle nesting beaches in Panama as I was studying sea turtles on a Nat Geo grant. And as I was learning all about the movement and the different principles behind it, I thought, you know, I have nothing to lose. I could bring this idea to Panama and see what they say, see if Panama would be interested in bringing this concept to national law. And so in February of 2020, I pitched the idea to Congressman Juan Vasquez and the First Lady, and they were excited about it. They were open to the concepts. And so we spent the next 2 years drafting and debating and revising the law with the general public in the parliamentary process, the Earth Law Center, many environmental lawyers and defenders and indigenous communities from throughout the country. And then on February 24th, 2022, the president of Panama signed this National Rights of Nature law into effect. So that was a really exciting moment. And since we've had another secondary law recognizing the rights of sea turtles, Law 371, and the law has also been implemented via other court cases as well. And so now we're really excited to be taking this epic next step to bring Panama's success story to the world stage.
Thank you, Callie. And, you know, I've been involved in the rights of nature movement as a lawyer for some time, about 12 years, and frequently we're asked, you know, how does this work in practice? Like, there's no way this is going to happen. And, you know, for a long time I gave theoretical answers to that, but now I can point to Panama amongst other case studies, but Panama, it's such a beautiful case study of, yes, this works in practice. And Law 287 was passed in 2022. And it was pretty quickly used by the Supreme Court to strike down a large mining project that would have been devastating. And then it won the 2025 World Future Policy Award. So it's this extraordinary, fast trajectory. Minister Navarro, what lessons do you have for other countries that are watching this now?
Thank you. My message is simple. Do it now. That's it. No time to waste. Don't waste your time listening to me. Get your job done in your own countries.
All right, go. He means it. Go do it. Everyone get out of here. Come on.
Go get him.
Go get him. All right. I'm inspired by that. All right, everyone, when you're done here, get your laptops out, email your local politicians, tell your UN representative that there's this campaign happening. Oh, there's more.
We can all do something about it. If you're an investor, make sure you're investing in things that are worthwhile and are sustainable. If you're an activist, go activate. Put your life into it. I'm devoting the rest of my life to protecting nature as I did the start of my professional life. And if you are a public servant, make sure you're there to serve, not to serve yourself. And stop doing the simple, safe thing. If you're designing and you're an architect, design for life. Design for life. Every one of us can make a huge difference. You're a lawyer. Why aren't you doing the law for the universal rights of nature in the country where you live? And we all must do something to stop the suicidal, incredible, ridiculous, a terrible destruction of life on Earth around us. And by the way, the thing that always surprises me about rights for nature, it is that only there is, what is it that Einstein said? He said, I know of two limitless things on Earth. The first is the universe, and the other endless thing is human stupidity. And we are proving him right every day with every step we take. My question is, how can our species be so arrogant and so stupid as to think that we can recognize the rights which are inherent to nature? So, we want to play God. This is incredible for me. I think that nature has rights, period. Creation is a reality. That the life around us is a reality. How can we pretend to have the right to destroy life on Earth? Who do we think we are? Yet we have to have this crusade to have others recognize it. Incredible. No wonder the world is in the state it is. But we will not give up. On the contrary, we're going to get this through. We're going to fight. We're going to fight to protect nature in Panama and in the entire world, and recognizing nature's universal rights. I don't say creating these rights. I say recognize, because they are inherent. Nature has rights, guys. Wake up and smell the coffee. We're talking about life on Earth. What we need to do is to get on with it, protect everything we can around us, and recognize that every living thing around us, by the way, upon which our lives depend, has a necessity to exist.
Thank you. And Minister Navarro, I agree humans are difficult, which is why I've chosen as a lawyer to have animals and rivers as my clients. It's much easier. And I totally agree with you. Anyone in any profession can get involved. I'm a lawyer, and if you're a criminal lawyer, you can work to criminalize ecocide. If you're a corporate lawyer, you can work to put nature on boards of directors. It goes on and on. There's a role for everyone. If you're a delegate to the United Nations, there's some really exciting stuff you can do coming up. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Just last week, Panama and For Nature signed a strategic agreement committing to advance a UN Declaration of the Rights of Nature. All right, round of applause. This is incredible. And we heard a little bit about this before, but I'd like to speak a little more about what this would actually mean. What could it do? What opportunities does it open up? And maybe, Callie, you can focus a little bit on a legal and scientific perspective, and Minister from a diplomatic and governance one. Let's just explore that a little more.
So nature knows no country boundaries, right? So even if we're working on recognizing and advancing the rights of nature within our countries around the world, we still need some international legislation or piece of legal context that really allows us to work together on this mission of advancing the rights of nature. What does it mean? We need to bring the countries together, put them around a table, and have a discussion about recognizing the rights of nature. What does this mean in practice? What are the rights of nature that we are able to recognize? And bring this conversation basically to a UN level where some of these greatest conversations around the world take place. And so for us, that's just extremely important because, as the minister mentioned in his speech, in 1948 with the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights, that piece of text changed the way that human rights are recognized and considered in decision-making around the world forever since then. Of course, we still have a long way to make sure that those rights are adequately enforced, but imagine if we didn't have that declaration. And so what we're really trying to do is create a similar process for nature and know that it's going to be a long road between when it's actually passed or presented and then passed and then implemented, but know that we need to go down this path. And I'm just unbelievably excited and grateful, and I still don't believe that it's happening, to be honest. So for me, this is just a dream come true. Do you want to add anything, Minister?
I just try to fade into the background when I see Kylie's excitement and her passion for this. I'm just here on this stage to cheer her on.
That's so nice.
People think that it is ministers or important bureaucrats who change the world. No, no, no. It's people like her, or like Sylvia, or like Matt, or like our hosts. It's you who change it. It's just citizen activists, investors, people who have the capacity to analyze and to make decisions. And it is our job as public servants to make sure that we do this job together and that we open doors for the citizens in complete liberty to do what's right by their conscience. And as you could tell from my remarks, I'm an expert in political correctness and diplomatic speak. And so I have nothing to add to the diplomatic debate, for heaven's sakes. What I can do is to propose, to push, and to make sure we have some on the table quickly, and we save every living thing around us immediately, because we're losing everything, and there's no time, guys. That is why I'm sometimes so impatient.
And let me pick up on just one thing that you said. How can family offices and investors and philanthropy, how can they support this movement
There's
specifically?
so much to be done. First, write a check to Cali. No, seriously. Who are you writing checks to? Write a check, man. Money's power. Write a check to your cause. Make sure, and by the way, get on them. Get on their case. Make sure they do their job. Be an advocate. Invest in things that make sense from an environmental point of view. Make sure that where you invest, they have an eye out and they're taking care of the environment around them, especially biodiversity. And make sure that you're supporting anything and everything you can do to end deforestation, unregulated fishing, and destruction of the ocean, the forests, and living things around us. And by the way, science is very important. But as I tell all my friends, my biologist friends, start studying paleontology unless we manage to save everything around us. Science is very important. Conservation must be science-based. No priority is higher than protecting everything around us.
Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to add one more thing to your previous question about the declaration. So a lot of decision-making processes and declarations like this on a UN level, they'll be non-binding, which means that this declaration won't force any country that wants to join the coalition or sign it to do anything at home. What it really does is inspire them to consider how rights of nature could be incorporated at home, but it's not going to be something that controls their decision-making into the future. And what we saw with the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights is that it really inspired national level legislation in tens of countries about better considering human rights on a national level, and that's what we hope for nature.
That's great. Thank you, Callie. We're going to get to a last question, just one or two sentences. We're back here in 3 years. EarthX says, that was such a great panel. Please come back. And we say, of course, of course. We're here 3 years later. What's happened that would make this successful in 3 years? Just a quick answer.
In 3 years, we hope to have signed already a United Nations Universal Declaration of the Rights of Nature, and to have potentially tens of other national level laws in process that currently haven't been started yet.
Ditto.
Ditto. All right, folks. Concluding words, I would like all of you to think about, what does nature mean to you? Is it what the law says nature is? A resource, a industrial sink, a conveyance system for a river, property, a thing that we own? Is that all nature is? Or is it your home? Is it a relative, something that you love? Is it the lifeblood of the planet? And if it's the latter that's true, all of these words I just said, shouldn't the law reflect that as well? And that's what the Rights of Nature movement is all about. It's at a high point. It's happening. I hope you all join it. Thank you again to the government of Panama, to For Nature for their incredible leadership in this space, and for joining us here today.
Thank you.